When you come to Morgan J show, none of that shit is going on. We're just a bunch of goofy people. We're getting horny. We're having a fun time. That's it.
Hi, I'm Zack Newmark, and this is Dam Yankee. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and all the podcast platforms for the best interviews with the coolest people coming through Amsterdam and those based here. Today, Mr. Cool himself, that's what I'm calling him today, a musician and comedian based in Los Angeles. Morgan J has made appearances on MTV's Wild 'N Out, NBC, and Comedy Central. Morgan has carved out his own genre of performance art and comedy, creating a show built on imperfection, authenticity, relatability, shared experience, and connection. He's a Brazilian and Italian, which for some reason makes him very similar to the guy from Ratatouille.
That's right.
Low key, he's actually a trained actor who graduated from the Tisch School of the Arts at New York University, NYU. He's won multiple awards and played multiple festivals, but none of that stuff really matters anymore, because he has a lot of followers on social media, and that's really all that matters. I can't even say it with a straight face. He doesn't just have a social media presence with a blue check mark. He is a social media presence with a blue check mark. I'm just saying he's kind of a big deal. That's all I'm saying. Morgan J.
What's up? I appreciate that you took my bio straight from my website. And I should say that like my bio has changed over the years, and it like at a certain point when you're selling enough tickets and you're popular enough, like the bio doesn't even matter, because it's like people, if they want to see you and they want to work with you, like they will find you and they will work with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just goofing off with it. And now when I hear it back, I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm being like 100% serious, you know?
I don't think so.
Hopefully not.
I hope not.
But also there's a big grain of truth in there. Like, you know, it's clear that like having a social media presence is important, you know?
Right.
99% of my ticket sales come from my social media presence.
Well, I mean, you crush it on social media because it's for, you know, someone like me to even describe, you know, let's say to my parents who I'm interviewing who probably don't know who you are.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to describe it unless somebody's familiar with what you do on social media.
100%. Well, listen, I just want to thank you for having me here. I think this is my second interview I've done on the tour. I've tried to like not schedule a lot of things during the tour, but I knew I was going to have time here.
Well, I mean, it's just super cool that you actually made the time to come over here, because you were telling us beforehand just kind of how much you like the city, how much you like Amsterdam.
I do like the city. I like the canals. I like the bicycles. I like it on a day that's not. I mean, even when it's rainy, I don't mind it. You know, I like the goofy ass gingerbread houses that people live in. I think it's just a nice vibe here. I like walking around here, and I mean, maybe it's because every time I come here, I do mushrooms or truffles. But I don't know. I like it here. I've been to a lot of cities in Europe, and this is among probably one of my favorite ones.
What is it about this city? I mean, aside from the gingerbread houses, what is it about the vibe here? It's just very chill,
man. I don't know. I feel really welcomed here, at least by people. I mean, listen, I don't know what it is about Europe, but Amsterdam is among the cities where I'm most popular in Europe. I'm talking about like, I think I sold 4,000 tickets here, and I probably could have sold another 2,000 or 3,000 more.
Did you think about adding more shows?
Yeah, we always do. I think it's just one of those things where just time doesn't allow it, and it's like exhaustion and physically and mentally, like thinking about what I can accomplish. You know what I mean? For this tour, I really wanted to have time to like do the shows, but enjoy the city as well. Right?
Yeah.
So I had today off. I had yesterday off. You know, London, we had a couple of days off because that's a big market. And because the last time I was in Europe, it was like city. I didn't have any time to like do anything. So, you know, now it's like I get to hang out and hang with locals and do stuff and make connections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it just seems like a really easy, livable city. I don't know.
Is that something that's kind of hard for you because you've got such a, you know, visible and forward social media presence, and Your shows sold out. You did 2 sellout shows. I think the day before yesterday here.
Yeah, 4 total. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
you can turn it on. That's fine. Yeah.
is that something? Does that get hard for you finding time for yourself, or finding like carving out that time that's just personal, that's yours?
Yeah, it's a weird balance because this whole tour, because it's been about 20 cities, the real challenge has been like, how much do I enjoy a city, and how much do I just like rest and prepare for a show?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's honestly the biggest challenge. I mean, but that's why I scheduled extra time here in Amsterdam, because I like this city more than others.
But you were saying, because you also talk about preparing your set, but so much of your set is crowd work and running around. So what is the kind of preparation that you do when, let's say, half of your show is kind of done on the spot or on the fly?
Yeah, I think it's an illusion, right? The main things I do for preparation, I just stretch every day. I do vocal exercises every day, maybe like a minimal workout here and there. And as far as the show goes, it's like trying to find new structures within the show to allow for improv. So what I mean by that is like the LOL opening is just like a little verse and chorus, right? But within that, I'll go around to the crowd and I have like specific questions that I always ask. Are you going to make love tonight? Are you hitting it raw? Are you two together? What's the vibe here? And we can kind of just see what happens. Sometimes good stuff happens. Sometimes we also have other bits like, where if the cameraman falls, I give the camera to somebody else now. And I'm like, all right, man down, but the show has to go on. You pick up the camera. So there's like these little structures. There's another one we just added where we get a couple who we don't know if they're going to hook up tonight. And I bring them up, and then the piano player goes into like a R&B type music. And I make the guy sing like, Usher to his girl. And like, I feed him the lines, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like it's improvised in the sense that like every person who does it is going to offer a different experience, but the overall like moments are kind of the same. Like even with the last bit I do, the "Would you be my dad" bit, the verse and the chorus is always the same, but what makes it special is who we pick out of the crowd. And I don't ever plan ahead of time who we pick out of the crowd, unless, and this only recently started happening, if there's like a celebrity who like Meghan Trainor came to a show,
Right.
and she was a fan of mine, and she came backstage before the show and was like, I really would love to sing. I said, would you? And I said, yeah. She said, yeah. So we I made sure to like stumble upon her, but ultimately everybody we pick, it's like, I mean, there's comments that are like, oh, it's too bad this is staged. And it's like, no, it's not staged.
Yeah. I mean, it's not staged, but you do the show night after night. So it comes out as smooth.
Yeah. If you do 1,000 shows, eventually it's going to look like pretty natural, And
people say more or less the same things, or at different moments.
Yeah. I mean, I have a bit where I'm running and then I trip. You think I trip and fall, but I actually just trip and start twerking.
Right.
And like, that's a bit that I also am like trying to steal things from I guess like the internet zeitgeist and finding a way to put it into a live show, because my audience is so young that they have brain rot, TikTok brain rot. They like there's these cultural moments online that resonate with them so heavy. So for them to see it played out in a live scene is like a really exciting feeling for them. And so I'm also trying to find ways to like bridge the gap between the people who, like myself, I include myself in this, who are like trapped on the phone, who don't go out to see live performance. How can we bridge that gap? So I'm like trying to do a little bit of that as well.
Well, how did you kind of come to that? Because if you actually look at earlier work of yours, it's less sort of, I mean, your work now is almost it's almost like snippets bridged together in a way, right?
I think like for me, it's always the main goal is to evolve, right? And I'm not trying to put on the cleanest and best show. Obviously, I would love to put on the best show, but I'm always trying to make changes to the show to keep it exciting for myself and for the audience. So, I did 4 shows in Amsterdam. You could have came to all 4 shows, and they would have all been slightly different. There are parts of the show that are always the same, like some of the stand-up jokes that I do, a couple of songs that I sing. But even within those songs, I might add something here and there. But it's always been a conversation with the audience. When I started, it was just stand up, and this was at a time when TikTok and Instagram Reels and the short form videos didn't exist. And then I transitioned to music, and I was doing crowd work with the music, and then with TikTok, I found that I had to adjust a little bit more. And during the pandemic, I was doing Zoom shows. I was learning how to perform in this context. And then I also started streaming on Twitch, which is like a video gaming platform. But I also learned how to interact with like chat, right? Like how to make people feel included. So a lot of times when people come to these shows, because they're kind of trapped on their phones, they're having this weird parasocial experience that, like, how do we embrace that, and how do we bring that into a live setting, right? So like my mission statement is to create, a unique and authentic experience for myself and the audiences every time.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of building upon that, right? Like when I started doing the auto-tune stuff, that was just like an experiment. I didn't think that was going to take off, but it did, right? So I'm not going to take that out of my show now because I did it and people like it. I like doing it, right? But I also really like singing some of the songs, the genuine songs that I've written.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that those don't perform as well on TikTok or Instagram. They just don't perform as well.
Right.
So I'm going to post the things that perform well, and I'm going to post the things that will get people to buy tickets. But once they're in my house, like once they're in the room, I have the liberty to like do one for them and do one for me, do one for them and do one for me.
Are you concerned that at some point it gets almost to be like, well, I remember like when I saw the Rolling Stones play 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
They'd gotten back together and they're doing all of their hits. And then here's Keith Richards with 3 new songs. And then all the band walked off the stage. There's Keith Richards. And like the audience is kind of like walking out and using that as almost like an intermission break. I mean, how do you sort of develop your show in a way where, it's still what you enjoy and it's what your audience is there to see in the first place?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because when I get into the guitar stuff, I definitely see people like step out and get drinks and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Especially during the last couple of shows, which honestly doesn't bother me. I saw an interview with John Mayer talking about like, oh, I want to play my new songs, but I think my fans want to hear old songs, but then there's some fans who want to hear new songs. And I think he said something that was along the lines of like, you really just have to trust that your audience knows what they're doing. They paid for the ticket and they're going to enjoy it how they want to enjoy it. But it has to be fun for all of us. You know what I mean? So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. The next evolution of the show is going to be with a full band. So it's like,
really?
Yeah. We're going to start that in the fall in America.
Because right now it's just a keyboardist that you either
or I have the music pre-programmed
right
into a looper. But again, it's just like evolving, so this stays fun for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could never write a new song. I have like 30, 40 songs that I could like rotate in and out that a lot of my old fans don't know about, or they don't care to know because I have 2 specials and also another album, and so I have 3 hours of 3 or 4 hours of material that's already out there. And when you also think about it, I put out like in 30 days, I put out like essentially like more than an hour of material every month.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't even say it's like new material. It's just like, it's kind of like when you see these prank shows, it's the same prank, it's the same thing over and over, but you like seeing people's reaction.
Yeah.
You feel when you're watching, you feel like them. Right. What I tell my cameraman Mossy is that, there's 1,000 people in the room, but there's 1 million people in there. Right. So that's why I look into the camera a lot. And that's why I try to make like the moment good on camera.
Yeah.
And now we project it on screen.
Right.
I also let the audience film whenever they want.
Well, I was going to ask about that because that's also a really different tactic that you take, because you have so many comedians that have like the Faraday bags and lock up your phones before the show.
Yeah.
We were talking with an actor who's based here named Minicola, who does a lot of stage work. And, he performed in China where, at the end when they're doing their bow on stage, the audience was silent because they weren't able to clap because everybody had their phone out and they were all shooting each other on video instead of actually applauding. And, we were talking with Wynton Marsalis also, who, when he had his show, it was either the rules of the venue or his rules that were no phones at all during the performance. But you're totally different from that.
Yeah, I think the benefit I have of allowing phones in is this because I do music, and because I've had so many viral moments. People want to see the viral moments, and they want to kind of keep adding to that loop. And so I'm lucky in that my show has replay value, right?
Right.
If I had a joke that was really good and then somebody filmed it and posted it, I don't know how it would work for like a traditional stand-up only comic, but for me, like I've kind of cheated the system a little bit. And the reason I let them film is because I noticed that like the truth of the matter is when people come to a show and they film something, I've had people film the whole show, right? I doubt that person is going to sit down and watch the whole show again on their phone. I doubt it. There's just too much content. And in a 24-hour content cycle, whatever you want to say, news cycle, whatever you want to call it, people just won't go back to watch it. They'll post it and they'll share it. And then for me, it's like a marketing thing, right? If a fan is at the show and posts moments from the show, then other people are going to see it. And then it's going to keep building this, I don't want to say like myth or lore or whatever it is, but it's going to get other people to want to go to the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with you also, is it because you do so much crowd work and you do so much interactive work that you don't really, I don't know if care is the right word, but do you really care if somebody catches an unguarded moment?
No.
Or like when your work is developing at that,
No, I don't care if they catch the unguarded moments. In fact, I think they like to catch those moments. The audiences now like to see things that look raw, unfinished. They want to see how the sausage is made. Like they like that behind the scenes type of stuff. Like I like seeing it too. So, you'll see comments like, "Oh my God, I just saw the other angle of this." Right. And it just came back.
Right.
And so the other way I look at it too is like, The Office, for example, is such a popular TV show that people still watch reruns of it, or any shows like Friends, Seinfeld, some of the most famous sitcoms or TV shows, comedy shows, or memes too. People will go back and watch a rerun. So why wouldn't they go back and watch like a meme they saw again or a viral video they saw again because they liked it, right? So like, I don't see any issue with them filming it because if they liked it, they'll watch it again. It also like takes them back to a moment that they were happy, and it's kind of like a comfort food.
And already, I would say that your style is already quite raw. So, I don't think that you're terribly concerned about the idea of being canceled, if that's even really a thing.
No, I mean, also like my show, we stay away from religion, race, and politics. Although it's funny, I was having a conversation with a friend today, like recently, like I haven't used my platform like to be particularly political, but I don't know when this is going to air, but with things going on in America right now, it's kind of like sick to my fucking stomach right now. I hope I could swear.
Sure.
But like I'm the son of an immigrant, so to see what's happening to like some of these to see what's happening to the immigrant, population of the like I would say 99% of the majority of these people coming to America to like look for a better life is really like and I'm from LA, so I'm seeing the images coming out of LA right now. If people don't know, there's like full on riots going on in LA, and but like I said, like cancelable. Like again, my show stays away from that, but like. I don't know what to do at this point because it's like hitting a point where like it's like I really am sick to my stomach, and it's like I'm out here touring Europe, like enjoying my life and having the best time of my life. Meanwhile,
right,
all these other things are going on.
It's weird also living out here as an American too, because you feel you feel empathy towards what's going on there, and at the same time you feel very detached from it because it's going on so far in terms of distance, and oftentimes in terms of time zones. Like what was happening in LA during these riots a couple of days ago, for us, it was, I think, overnight hours. And then you wake up in the morning and it's kind of all happened and transpired and everybody's commented on it. And is it over or not? It's a weird, it's hard to explain kind of.
And especially because I am on TikTok so much. TikTok is like a really beautiful platform for artists, entrepreneurs, anybody who's trying to create something from the ground up for themselves, even people who are doing podcasts and things like that. However, there's this weird thing about it where you'll swipe and you'll see a funny cat video, and then you'll swipe up and see like, a Palestinian child trapped in rubble, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's like a paralyzing effect. It's like such a weird, twisted, dystopian application, because it's like led me to having such an amazing career, but I'm like, I don't know what I should be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Do you talk to, I mean, you've got other, friends who've been working with you for a while now.
Yeah.
Do you talk to them about this, about kind of
How to use my platform?
Or whether to use your platform also?
Yeah. I mean, I just saw a creator today that was like, if you live in LA and like you don't use your, they were kind of like lambasting and criticizing people with big platforms for not speaking up. But then it's like, sometimes you do speak up, and then you have people who are like, hey, shut up. Like, you're just like a comedian. Like, we don't need to hear your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people who are like, thank you for speaking up. And like, no matter what you do, there's going to just be somebody in your DMs like, fuck you, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, either you don't take a hard line, or you take a soft one, or you don't, or your opinion is too nuanced. It's like us or them type of energy. And it's like, how do I articulate it? Because it's funny. It's like, I was telling my friend, I was like, I'm smart enough to know when things are like morally and are bad, but I'm not like, I don't have like the sources at my fingertips to articulately debate with somebody. And especially when you try to debate with people who don't even really want to debate at all. Their mind is made up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I see that, like, I see people like coming to each other with like clenched fists, and I'm always of like this philosophy, like, you can get more with an open palm than you can get with a clenched fist, So it's just kind of difficult to have these conversations, and when people are, they've also tied like their identity. Sorry to I didn't mean to get so like,
no, it's fine.
It's like they've tied such a huge part of their identity to like what they believe in, and could never even fathom. Like, I do have a song about this that I don't sing too often, but it's essentially about like internet commenting and trolls and people who believe one thing so hard and refuse to even look at it from another point of view. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we're all living in an echo chamber. That is all to say, to go back, when you come to Morgan J Show, none of that shit is going on. We're just a bunch of goofy people. We're getting horny. We're having a fun time. That's it.
Yeah. But it's, I understand where you're coming from, because, the nature of your show, like you said, it's very lighthearted, and it's, it's where I kind of get a sense that people are going not to focus on what's happening on their, on their screens outside of that room. So it's another issue of that you must face when it comes to balance again.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there are people who for sure criticize me for like what my show is. It's like not edgy. That's fine with me. I'm not doing it to like get a rise out of people. I'm doing it for the people who like work an 80-hour work week and then just like need a place where they can like forget about what's going on. There are artists who are really good at doing both, but I don't know, if you worked 80 hours and you only have, $100 to buy one ticket that year, and you went to a show and then the whole show was political, I might be upset about. I might be like emotionally and physically exhausted by like coming to it,
And I think it kind of depends on who you're buying the ticket to see, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
money's tight, and there's
a year ago or 2 years ago, my wife and I saw Mark Maron here.
Sure.
And, we kind of expect
you expect
him to talk about politics or whatever is going on that day a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you came to my show and all of a sudden I started talking about the current administration and Donald Trump, I don't know how it would be perceived, because I do sell tickets like in every part of the country. And if you see my audience, it's like, it's both sides. It's like everybody's coming to my show. I'm talking about the people who I'm talking about everybody. You know what I mean? It's like every color of the rainbow is at my show.
Right. And
You know?
and a lot of ages. The age range has gotten a lot wider at your shows too.
I'm talking like ages goes now from like 12 to like 60.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know how I essentially have a broad appeal. You know what I mean? And I'm like wondering at what point is it my responsibility to like start using that broad appeal to like influence and shape the minds of the youths. You know, I don't know.
Is there a, you know, I mean, you're the performer, you're the comedian. Is there kind of like a lighthearted way of bridging people and bridging divides at your show?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know how explicit I could get. I had one joke during I had one joke during the election. I said, "Look, man, it's like, what did I say? Like, oh, the right wing has the Epstein Island, and then the left wing has the Diddy parties. Like, just reach across the aisle and jerk each other off. You know what I mean? It's like we're all in this together. We're all a bunch of fucking freaks. You know what I mean? Like, we have more. There's more that unites us than divides us. You know." And everybody wants to be oiled up at some point. It was like something like that, you know. And that was essentially the most I got with it, you know. You know, but you know what I mean? It's like there is a lighthearted way, and I do have that one song about the internet trolls that, you know, it's actually, I always say at the end of the song, like, this is a show about empathy. This is a song about empathy, because the people who are online, like leaving hate comments or leaving you death threats, you know, the truth of the matter is those people, they probably live somewhere where there's nothing to do. They probably have no money or no job. They have no outlet. They have no place or community to have their voice being heard. So they use it to just like lash out at somebody. So like, hopefully somebody can talk to them, even if it's a negative interaction. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, negative attention is still attention.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you sit, you know, across from somebody for a couple hours who might have a different opinion than you. You guys will probably end up like agreeing on some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's just that with these like these internet commenting and trolls and stuff, it's like, unfortunately, it's like so immediate that the back and forth, you can't really have like a proper conversation, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you grew up in New Jersey.
I did, yeah. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up an hour outside of New York.
Reddish, or can be reddish depending on what depending on the year.
I would say that the part of the town I was in was probably pretty. I mean, at this point, if I had to go, I haven't been back home since I was like 19. At least where I grew up, you know. And then I went to NYU, which is like an incredibly liberal place, and then lived in New York for 7 years, and I went to LA, which is an incredibly liberal place. What's really funny is that me and a lot of other comics like knew that Donald Trump was going to win both of the elections because we travel the country, and we see what's actually happening in the country. Like if you live in a big city, you're kind of insulated, actually, you know, from what America really is like. You know, it's not all like matcha and acai bowls. You know what I mean? So like, there's people who are like literally going in their backyard, shooting an elk, and then like eating it for the rest of the year.
Right.
And I applaud that, you know?
Yeah. And well, and also you've got a different experience with your mother's Brazilian as well. Your father is Italian American.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, my father was born in Sicily, grew up in Argentina, moved to New York in the 70s, I believe. And then, you know, they met in a restaurant. She worked at the coat room. He was a chef, you know, and then, you know, if that happened today, I mean, I think about it today, like, what if this happened now? Like, would my parents get deported? Like, what would happen?
Right.
You know, like, and then my dad passed away. My mom takes care of my stepdad, who is a veteran from the Vietnam War with Parkinson's, you know, and then like, what if she's a green card holder and, but like,
is she a citizen or?
She's not a citizen. No. But she's been here for 40 plus years. You know what I mean? But like, considering the way things are going now, she could be deported tomorrow if they really wanted to, or just detain. You know, that's what they're doing, right? They're just detained. Remember they detained that high schooler who was like, he just graduated, or a couple, and it was just too many instances.
It's so much.
It's what we think about what we see, and then like think about what we're not even hearing about.
Right.
That's what I think about sometimes. You know. Anyway, My show is a lot.
It's hard. I mean,
my show is a lot of fun.
No, but it is very surreal. But I'm curious because you have such an open-minded attitude regarding your performances, and you've got an open-minded attitude towards different communities and people who are at your show. Does that come out of your upbringing, or is that something that you developed a little bit later?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, you're raised by an immigrant, so you're already in touch with like marginalized communities all the time. Like, one of my mom's best friends, is a Spanish speaking person who's been living here for 40, 50 plus years. She doesn't really even speak English, but she's lived here this long, and you just hang out with these different kinds of communities. Also, I traveled from a young age. We went to Brazil a lot. We went to Europe a couple times. We've been outside of the country, and I think like when you travel, you learn a lot.
Totally.
I mean, God, if only I was in Prague even a couple weeks ago, and I had a medical emergency, and I had to go through their medical care system.
What happened?
I thought I had a kidney stone, but it just turned out I was like really dehydrated, and I was having like I worked out, and I was having like terrible back. I never had this before, like back spasms that like were debilitating. I would breathe and it would hurt,
Yeah.
So I went through their care system, which like when you walk in, Prague is such an old city. These buildings look like they're crumbling. And you're like, all the doctors are smoking cigarettes. So you're like, what kind of healthcare am I going to get here? But the truth was, I think I was there for a total of 3 or 4 hours. I got a CT scan. I saw a specialist. I also did like a urine analysis. So I did 3 things. And it cost me out of pocket $250.
Right.
So like to explain that to somebody in America is like, because I pay like $300 a month for health insurance.
Right.
Which is like on the low end.
That's really on the low end.
So I get it through my union with the actors union. But like, just like even knowing that, right? Like imagine if you could tell somebody who like doesn't believe in universal healthcare, like even though like you imagine like if you could have them go through that experience, like to see what that's like, because that would have cost 5 figures for sure in America.
Right.
A CT scan out of pocket is absolutely insane.
I have a friend whose deductible in Texas is more than what I pay in insurance for the year.
Yeah. So, things like that. I mean, even the culture around like community here. I rode my bike around here and like people just, I was in Berlin, dude. I was like, people were at the park just like, dude, like hitting a volleyball around in a circle. And I just was like, it just seems so silly to me. Like these are like, we're full grown adults doing that. And I'm not even judging them because I'm like, this is what it should be, bro.
Right.
We should go to the park and like grill on a piece of shit grill. My man, here's some Germany. You know what I'm talking about, right? You're like in the park, you're having a beer, you're smoking a cigarette, you're literally just kicking a ball around. Like that's what it should be like.
Yeah.
But in America, there's this culture of like, I mean, it's just such a, it would shock some Americans. Like I think only 48% of Americans have a passport or some shit like that.
Oh, like my parents didn't get a passport until I think until I moved out here.
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
And I'm not saying this to like big time anybody. I don't want people to think I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, I just like have this like nice watch on. Trust me, this is the only extravagant thing I've ever got myself. I swear to God, like I drive a Kia at home, but this has been a long trip and a long journey, and this is like the first
treat myself.
This was literally the first. I'm not going to show you what it is, but this is the first purchase I ever got that was like, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a whole story behind it, but anyway, it's just like a culture shock of like what's here and what's there, and America is so enormous that there's like you considering traveling around Europe. If you fly an hour somewhere, you're in a different country. You fly an hour from California anywhere, you're still in America. You could fly an hour in Texas and you're still in Texas.
Right.
I mean, you know this. And like the culture from one city to another is insanely different.
Yeah.
Miami is its own country,
Right.
Anyway, what other questions about me do we have? I'm like, I did not mean, the last day or two, I just cannot stop thinking about it because the news is just so disheartening. You know?
I mean, you were talking about how, how much you enjoy the city, how much you enjoy Amsterdam. Would you ever think about coming and moving out here?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I literally am like Googling apartments and homes and what it costs to buy something here. It's not too much different than Los Angeles, to be honest with you. We talked about this briefly before the podcast, but the people here, from the impression I got at my shows, are lacking in a sense of humor. Because you got to understand, I came from Manchester a couple of days ago from an audience of 2,600. It might have been one of the best shows of my career. By the way, I had like a cold at the time. It was incredible. And then coming to Amsterdam, we had 2 shows on Sunday. I was giving everything I could on this late show. These motherfuckers would not fucking laugh, dude.
At all.
I mean, they would giggle and then they would smile. But like when I'm doing the crowd work and I'm really trying to, I mean, you've seen the video. It's like in my head, I'm like, you guys paid for a ticket to this. You know this is what the show is.
Right.
I'm here to interact with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, help me out. Help me help you. Like you know what I mean? I can't bring it's like that's part of the show.
Was any of it a language barrier?
No, because they speak great English here.
Right.
You know what I mean? They speak fantastic English here. I think it's just a cultural thing. I mean, I talk a lot about sex, and I think I'm told like they don't talk openly about it, which I don't believe, considering it's a city that has like a bunch of sex shows and like there's like a lot of horny shit going on here.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like I don't believe that. Like for a city that's like filled with windmills, tulips, canals, bicycles, and like gingerbread houses, I thought it'd be a lot goofier. You know what I mean? So like I was just surprised by it. I mean, no shade. I love it here, and I think the people are awesome. We actually met. My opener has a friend here, and we met at a bar, and me, my tour manager, and my opener were like a bunch of really.
Your local opener or the opener you're touring with?
He's American, yeah.
Okay.
So we're all hanging out.
Who is it?
This guy Patrick Quinn, very funny comic. He's been on me with the whole European tour. So we're like having fun. We're excited. We're like loud, And then his friend who's been living here for like 15 years or so, and she just kept looking at us like, okay. And she even said, she's like, I have to like adjust to your energy. I don't know. You guys are crazy. And in my head, I'm like, are we? Or are we just like having a fun time? I don't know. But, there's different types of people all over the world. So, the Danish were like that too,
I remember because sometimes comics will talk about that where Dutch crowds are kind of more either subdued or more stingy with their laughs.
Yeah, they are. It's like, yes, no, okay, what are we doing? Yeah, no, I don't want to participate. Bye. Yeah.
There's an American comic who's based here. His name's Matt Castelvi, and he sort of describes the same thing, but then they come up to him afterwards at the show and they're just talking about how amazing and how funny it was.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, oh, we love this. I got DMs like, oh, the show was incredible. It's the best show I've ever seen. Was it? I wish you would have told me that during the show.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do about that? As a performer who's been doing this for so long, how do you go about that? How do you handle that on stage? How do you try, at what point are you sort of like, okay, this is what I'm getting tonight, and just keep going with it?
I think when you find that the audience is not giving you a lot, I just kind of just hardcore stick to the script and just run through the material. Like that's when it feels like work. I said, all right, if you're not going to give me anything, I'm just going to give you my material. I have so many songs and bits that like, sometimes the crowd work takes, if I have a really hot crowd that's really participatory, that whole crowd work portion of the show could take about 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I only get 60 minutes to sometimes 70 minutes for a show.
Right.
So it's a huge chunk of the show.
Yeah.
When they're not giving me a lot, I'll just shorten it to like 12 to 15 minutes, and then I'll just add another song in there and do some more jokes and just run the script and take more participation out.
Yeah. The bit that you did, You're Not My Dad.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of like asking different members of the audience to do different things for you. Your father passed away when you were young. Your stepfather is,
he's ill with Parkinson's,
quite ill.
Yeah.
At what point did you add that bit to your show?
I added that bit actually a little over a year ago. I had a writing session with a comedian, a really talented comedian in front of mine, Heather Pasternak. Heather has plenty of credits. You could look her up. She's really hilarious. And we sat down together for about an hour and just kind of like looking at my material and seeing what we could punch up. And she just was like, why haven't you done a song about like your dad? You should do a song where you just like try to find a new dad. And I was like, all right, and that was it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And then I just like wrote the song, and then with songs, with comedy songs, there's like a fine line between the song being too long and just the right length, right?
Mm-hmm.
I only do 3 bits. Would you be my dad? But I tested like 10 out.
Okay.
Right. So you'll see the show, and I don't mind giving it away. But the first one is somebody ties a tie, somebody plays catch with me, and then the third and final one is a dad saying they're proud of me. Right.
Right.
And I pick a different person out every show. But there was like one where like they tell me about the birds and the bees. They try to open a jar for me. They teach me how to drive. I asked them to smoke weed with me, but then, but the issue was that it just becomes too long.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, like sometimes with certain comedy songs is that like once we hit the joke and we know what the bit is, there's only so many, unless it like escalates, there's only so many times you could like hit the joke. But so that's kind of how the song happened. And then I workshop it and take things out, put things in. I mean, I'll adjust things on the fly. I mean, if you really want to I'll tell you what happened in Manchester. I have this end of the show song where I'm like, if you take one thing away from the show, let it be love. Go home and give someone a nice smooch and hug. And if you ain't got nobody, you can touch yourself. And if you ain't got no hands, well, I don't know. And there was a person in the crowd who had no hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I clocked that like first minute of the show. There was actually like a lot of differently abled people in the show. And I have joked around with like people in wheelchairs and stuff like that. But when I do that, I am gambling to see whether sometimes they don't have a sense of humor. And so, like I have a stepdad who's like wheelchair bound. Right. And I've never want to alienate audiences. So it's like a fine line, but like I took that line out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows. I just took it out completely. I just added something in. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like the show wasn't any less funny for it. But I don't know why. Like I thought about that one person, and I was like, this person might this might hurt this person.
Is that something that just comes out of doing this over and over? It comes out of your experience. Yeah, I actually do something also with the shows. Like I kind of like I walk the venue, mm-hmm. kind of like a race car driver would like walk the track, right?
Or a basketball player like Steph Curry will like just like bounce the ball everywhere on the court to like see what parts of the court are like dead spots and stuff, Mm-hmm. Where I will walk a venue to see like the eye lines, to see like where people can't see me, where they can see me. I'll go to the back of the room and kind of see what it's like for the person in the last row for the show, because I want everybody to have a good time at the show. So I'm really like thinking about that throughout the whole show. So like where I feel like where I lack in like really witty and great jokes, I kind of make up for with like creating like a hospitable and fun show. Right. If that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, it's what all of the reviews of your show are really, is just that it's kind of like a nice environment and
it's like warm, it's like fun, it's inviting. We're just hanging out. I think somebody commented like, oh, Morgan J doesn't have fans, he has friends, which I like. I really love that. That was like a nice way to describe it.
Wait, why did you make the decision to go down this way instead of staying and doing just straight stand-up comedy?
I had a audition for JFL at the time. I was like in my 5th year of stand-up.
Just for Laughs.
Yeah, Just for Laughs. For those who don't know, it's like one of the most prestigious comedy festivals amongst our career and, our work, And I remember I was like running the same 6 minutes over and over and over and over again. And then finally auditioned. I killed. I was like, this is it. I got it. But then nothing happened. I auditioned the next year. Nothing happened. And I realized like that was none of that process was fun. Mm-hmm. I didn't like any of it. To be honest, I didn't even like telling the same jokes over and over again. So I had to have like a serious conversation with myself that was like, if I'm going to do this the rest of my life, like I better have fun doing it. And that's when I took a summer to write a couple songs and then just like take it around town.
About what year was that?
This was 2013.
Okay.
And so the guitar stuff was from like 2013. The straight guitar stuff was like from 2013. So stand-up was from 2007 to like 2012, 2013. 2013 is I transitioned into guitar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guitar stuff went from 2013 to like 2021, 2022. And then during the pandemic, I slowly started incorporating the auto-tune. That's when that came in. So now when you see the full show, it has every element of what I could do. I do stand-up, guitar, auto-tune, all that type of stuff.
What would you describe as that sort of, breakout moment for you?
I think it was November 29th, 2023. This clip I posted, the Ethan clip. At this point, I already had 1 million followers on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like what's your name, bro? Ethan. And, I say this in all the podcasts, to be honest with you, I didn't think the clip was like that good because I don't say one punchline in it. There's not like, I get a lot of feedback from people who are like, this guy's not funny. He doesn't even tell jokes. And it's like, I agree, buddy. Yeah, you're right. I know. But there is something that is resonating with audiences.
I mean, you write funny lyrics.
I think, people are going to just judge you based on, 60 seconds. And that's just kind of the reality of it. When you do see a whole show, there's like thoughtful lyrics and things that are written out, but yeah, that was the breakout moment. And then that kind of lifted me into another level. And then in January of 2024, I had a couple of videos that went viral on Instagram, and that kind of propelled me a little bit further. And then that was the 2024 is last year. When I went to Europe, like everything sold out to a point that I was doing pretty small venues. I was doing like, I forget what venue, it was like 300 seats here in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And then there was another small comedy club on the water that was like 120 seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I did 2 of those and I did 1 of the 300, right? Cut to a year later, I've sold 4,000 tickets. I probably could have sold another 2,000. In London alone, or in the UK and Ireland alone, sold like 13,000 tickets.
That's crazy.
And when I say like we sold the tickets, I'm talking about like when the pre-sale went on sale, it was just through mailing list. Mm-hmm. I work really hard to funnel everything into a mailing list for like my diehard fans, because any of these apps could like go under, and at any point, you never know. Totally. Like I've lived through MySpace and the decline of Facebook, and anything, so it's like the mailing list is so important. You really can't put a price on that. And I'll just send one email, and then I think we sold out just about 90% of the European tour within like an hour.
That's crazy.
And then we added the shows. Like even in London, we could have added another show, and there could have been more shows.
Dam Yankee is produced in partnership with NL Times, the top choice for English language news from the Netherlands. Founded nearly 15 years ago, NL Times grew to become the #1 site for information about this country, featuring more news stories every day of the week than any other website. Keep tabs on the latest top stories and breaking news from across the entire country, not only in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. Find out more at nltimes.nl. Do you want to start there? So, because you did this Tisch audition and you were studying to be in theater.
Yeah, I mean, I did a theater program in high school in New York at the New York Film Academy, and I loved that. And so then I auditioned for NYU, and I thought like I couldn't be behind a desk or have a normal type of job, and acting and theater seemed like the vibe for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it still is. I mean, I'm on a TV show coming out. I have an episode coming out on Apple TV. I did an episode for an NBC show. Like acting is still very much part of the plan. I'm pitching TV shows to different streamers and networks. Like that's very important to me. But I think like the acting and the comedy kind of feed each other. The acting makes me a better comedian, and the stand-up and the performance makes me a better actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're acting, you're just trying to be truthful, right? In a set of imaginary circumstances. And that's what it allows you to do. So,
are you getting any traction on these pitches?
Yeah, I don't want to like leak the news, but there are things that are cooking up. Yeah, I can't give it away right now. Yeah.
When can your audience expect to hear something more about it, do you think?
It's not up to me. That's up to my agent and managers, and we always plan a certain way to roll things out. So
okay.
I can't speak too much to it.
So if you're doing a little bit more towards acting, or if that's a goal to do a little bit more towards acting, have you thought about doing more in music as well?
Yeah, that's also with music too. Two producers that I work with closely. I'm gonna have 3 months off at the top of 2026, and I think that's gonna be a huge goal of like putting out genuine music
Hmm.
for my audience, since I have such a big fan base. I think they would like it anyway. But it's just there's so many. I have my hands in like so many different pots that it's like hard to focus. And right now I'm on tour, so I'm just gonna stay on tour, and I don't want to give too much of my bandwidth away. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
enjoy myself. Because it's like life is. While I am in the rat race, like I am doing my best to enjoy my time here. We were talking about balancing. Um, how do I balance like getting to know a city or stuff like that? And on tour, like I don't really drink or smoke. Like if I don't have shows,
Hmm.
I mean, if I do have shows, like if I have back to back, like coming up, like I have a show Friday, Saturday, Sunday, London, Bristol, and then Lisbon. So those nights, it's like no fun. It's like we do the shows straight back home.
But on the off days,
But on the off days, like I'm out here in Amsterdam, like smoking weed and like doing mushrooms and riding a bike around, like for sure.
right?
And I'll have a little drink here and there. I had a little tequila yesterday, but all that stuff like fucks your voice up, and like being in loud places. Like I definitely won't go to a nightclub
Hmm.
because that's like the worst thing you can do. But I'll find a chill spot and try to hang with people. I mean, like Amsterdam is really cool like that because it's like you can be like, hey, let's get a bottle of wine or something, and then let's go sit on literally just sit in the canal and like chill. Let's smoke a joint and
Yeah.
just chat. Like that's not unusual. So it's actually really conducive to having a good time here. And I find getting to know a city, the best way is to like meet locals and hang out with them. Like even the boat ride I'm going with was like I got from a local here.
Hmm.
I got my hair cut from a local here. They gave me mushrooms here. And like I felt like that was the best representation of the city. You know what I mean? Like hanging out with these people and getting to know them. Because it's like I'm not going to remember dates. I could visit the Anne Frank house and I can go see the cheese and the windmills and the tulips, but like, a place is like its people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I get to know the people, I think I get to know the place.
You were talking a little bit about the criticism that you sometimes get. Does that ever get to you?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like you see enough of it. Yeah. But I also remind myself that it's like, there's like 10 million people who do follow me.
Hmm.
And, like,
Don't let one asshole ruin it.
most comics will tell you that like when you're doing a show, you could be making everybody laugh, but if there's like one person in the front row who's like this, it's like hard to not focus on that person.
Yeah.
But also I've also told myself it's like, well, maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe like their wife just left them, and then like there's nothing that's going to make them laugh today.
Are you a harsh critic on yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think if I wasn't harsh, I think the product would suffer, or I wouldn't. I mean, if I wasn't as harsh as I am on myself, I would write more. I don't write as much as I should anymore.
Are you fair to yourself?
Yeah.
Now or
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
I actually watched a clip of somebody took my show from Amsterdam
Hmm.
this last weekend.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is funny. So if I laugh at it, I mean, at the end of the day, like I say in every podcast I've done, it's like, you got to be your first fan and you got to be the first person to buy a ticket to the show. This person may not like it, but like, do I like it? Because I got to do it the rest of my life. So wouldn't it be even worse if I did something that like everybody liked, but I hated, and then I had to do that forever and ever and ever?
Mhm.
My life would be miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think the latter is better.
all right. My last question, I think,
Yeah.
is can you just tell me about, since you're such a harsh critic towards yourself and you had a crowd here that some nights were good, some nights were a little more subdued.
Yeah.
Do you have a biggest bomb? What's your biggest bomb in your career?
Biggest bomb was 2023 New Year's Eve. I was opening in Chicago at the Erie Crown Theater. I was doing D. Ray Davis's New Year's Eve countdown show, and I was opening the show. For those of you who don't know, there's white rooms, there's black rooms, there's mixed rooms. This was very much a black room. Black rooms are really cool because like if they love you, they like love you.
Right.
And if they hate you, they like really let you know about it. So night one, set went great. Night two, I I switched up something in my set, and then 8 minutes in, like people started booing. So about 1,000 people started booing me.
Rough.
And but you know, it's a humbling experience.
Did any clown come out on the stage and sweep you off?
No, nobody came out and took me off. But it was good that happened, because I was having a good year, and it's like good to be humbled and like brought back down to earth. And now that I'm doing theaters now, I'm like never at ease. You feel me?
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that Dutch people do have a sense of humor.
Yeah. I believe it.
And I had, some colleagues and friends who were at your show, and
were they at the early show or late show? Doesn't matter.
Late, I think the late show, and they said that it was still, even though it was what they described as a Dutch audience, they still said that it was quite funny and that it was pretty well received in the crowd. And he was there with his fiance on one of the aisle seats and was just absolutely terrified that you were going to come up to them and that you were going to end up having them sing to each other.
Wow.
He was terrified that was going to happen.
It didn't happen, did it?
It didn't.
Nothing to fear.
He
and even if it did happen, they would have had a lovely time.
Yeah. Well, he said they had a great time. And I know that's also something you like too, is getting people who are sort of hesitant to sing in the microphone to actually kind of break out and start doing it.
Exposure therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find people, they don't want it, but then once they do, it's so exciting. You're not jumping out of a plane, you know what I mean? You're not going to die. So I obviously public speaking is scary, but it's fun, man. It's fun to see. There's nothing more joyful to see than seeing like somebody come out of their shell and embarrass themselves and be silly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we all love it, man. Like I don't think anybody should. Oh, that guy looks stupid. Look what he did. No, dude, I'll be the first person to look stupid up there. It's the best.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, look, I think that's a perfect place to leave it. We would love it if you bought a place here.
Yeah.
And come and crash for a little while and, do smaller gigs. And
I'm going to hit that website, Funda. Somebody told me to go to Funda.
Go to Funda. Yeah.
Funda, right? Funda what? Funda.what? NH or something?
NL.
Funda.nl. I'm going to go there.
Yeah. I think we've got our new sponsor now.
Hell yeah. Funda. Hit me up.
So anyway, I really appreciate the time that you've given us and enjoy your boat tour around the canals.
Thank you so much. And apologies for getting this is probably the most political I've ever got on a podcast. It's not even that political, but I had a great time talking to you. And thank you so much.
Morgan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dam Yankee is an NL Times podcast. The show was created by me and Pete Rizzo. Pete Rizzo produced this episode, and Marcus Engel edited the episode.